TWM Podcast.
Hello and welcome to TWM Talks. I am Matty Deller and this is our review of 3 days of New Japan Pro Wrestling's biggest event of the year, WrestleKingdom 14 and New Year's Dash as well. Drama, emotion, flips, it had it all. So let's run through our weekend in the Tokyo Dome. Thank you for hitting the download button on this special TWM Talks. I say special, it's a pay-per-view review, but we're covering 3 shows in 3 days in one podcast, so we'll see how this turns out. It is, as always, a part of the TWM podcast platform, bringing you news, reviews and interviews each and every week. I've said that in ages. Available on Apple and Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Acast, TuneIn, Podbean, YouTube and wherever else you get your pods. If you like wrestling swag from all kinds of promotions, Squared Circle Box is the place to go. SquaredCirclebox.com. Use the code TWM News for 10% off your first order. That's TWM News at SquaredCirclebox.com. Get it in time so you can get your first box of 2020. I am not alone, which is a good thing, just in life, but also in this podcast. I've got 2 friends to talk about New Japan with, which will be lovely. Alongside me, here's the Chris Charlton to my Gino Gambino. It is Mike Mears.
I'm just glad we're both together now after this morning.
It's been emotional. Because you are Chris Charlton, you are going to have to speak fluent Japanese the entirety of the podcast.
I told you yesterday, I don't even believe he does speak fluent Japanese.
Oh, what, because he lied to you yesterday? Because the news he promised at the top of the show came halfway through the show instead.
Yeah.
So therefore, Chris Charlton isn't... But no, we love Chris Charlton. He is a lovely man. I don't want to throw shade just yet, in case they come back to the UK again. Joining us...
Well, they didn't announce that.
Oh, we'll have to wait and see. We'll talk about it later. Joining us, another one of our Pro Wrestle pals, and hopefully she'll be joining us in a lot more New Japan related stuff in the future. She's our very own golden star. It's Stephanie Chase.
Hi.
We've got another friend to talk about New Japan with, Mike.
Yeah.
Woo! It's not just me and you screaming into the void anymore.
We're just screaming at each other.
I'm surprised I'm allowed on to talk to New Japan after my moments.
don't worry. If you've read down on what we're going to talk about, every time a Jay White match comes on, I've just gone, Stephanie, we'll talk about this now. Because all I'm going to say is going to offend a whole bunch of people. I found out that I'm not the only one. I thought I was in the minority when it comes to Jay White. Apparently, he's very split down the middle of the internet wrestling fandom, it looks like.
Well, I have some interesting, perhaps surprising takes, so...
Have we turned Steph? You'll have to find out in the rest of this podcast. Right, we've got 3 days to cover, so this is going to be an interesting one. So let's jump right into it, and let's start off with day 1 of WrestleKingdom. Right, let's jump into the kind of whole swing of things. I'm starting off, actually. I'm going to talk a little bit about some little side stuff. First of all, I thought the entrance wasn't as elaborate as most years. This was quite a low-key stage compared to the insanity they've usually had at previous WrestleKingdoms. But it looks nice. It looked good.
Yeah, I agree. I was caught off guard at first when, for most of the matches, that people were coming out of the sides and not the middle. They seemed to be just a main event thing.
They went very AEW with the side entrances on the. I will say as well, it's a bold move. I would say, Steph, to have 4 people on commentary, because you had Gino, you had Rocky, you had Kevin, and obviously you had our boy Chris Charlton. But I thought, this shows that you can have a lot of people on commentary and it work if they all have different facets and aren't talking over the top of each other. And I really like the commentary across all 3 nights.
I thought the commentary I thought about a lot, because it was a 4-man team, which does seem like too much, but Chris Charlton, he was so good when necessary, especially during the Liger matches. Yeah. But then I sometimes felt then during other matches that he was kind of an odd one out. He was the person that no one reacted to anything he said, even when he made some really good calls.
I think, Mike, you actually texted me a really good point. I said really interesting, because Mike texted me. I said, they're doing a 4-man booth. What did you message me about that you said?
it seemed it was kind of like a 3+1 booth, I thought, because Chris is there mainly to cover the sort of like the translation aspect of it, but people forget he knows all the history of New Japan. You can buy his book, A Lion's Pride, which is actually sat on my desk right now, which tells you the whole history of New Japan. Anyway, so I think people miss that part, and he had so much in that regard, like with all the stories he could tell with everybody in the Liger 8-man.
Yeah, he was really good at that. And then, actually, funny enough, we said he was 3+1, and then he probably did come out with the line of the entire weekend during the night. Was it the Naito match? The monologue? Or are you thinking about something else?
Oh, I have some Chris Charlton lines written down, and one was from a Naito match, so we could be on the same page.
I think it's that one, but also my favourite bit. Actually, I'm going to save it for the match, because I put it on Twitter, and generally it made me laugh, not for what he said, but for Rocky Romero's reaction afterwards. Absolutely killed me. I'd love Gino on commentary. I know that Rocky just keeps needling saying you're barely a wrestler now because he's always on comms.
Gino actually said today, he's like, I never said I was a good wrestler.
He went, you're not even a professional wrestler. He went, I didn't say I was professional. And then he just went, or a wrestler. Which was a really moment of deep reflection. Another thing that popped us, we'll bring him up a little bit later, but Gabriel Kidd was one of the young lions around the ring for all 3 days, which was awesome. I only realised at the obvious point later on in the show, but when I saw him, I was like, oh, that's brilliant. This Gabriel Kidd, like one of the UK guys, is now like one of the young lions of WrestleKingdom. Really, really cool. Let's do a kind of a roll call here. Was anyone insane enough to get up early enough to watch both sets of pre-shows?
Yes.
No.
So it was you. Thank you. You are insane, Michael. Because I got up for the Saturday, the Sunday. No, even though that was probably the more important pre-show compared to the day one, but I just couldn't get up at 4 in the morning. It wasn't happening.
But you say that they had a match on that pre-show on day 2 for titles they forgot about all year.
Yeah, this is true.
I think day 1 was more important.
They only realised they had the never open weight 6-man titles legitimately 3 months ago. We start off on day 1 with Alex Coughlin, Clark Connors, Carl Fredericks and Toa Hanare. They went over Yamura, Tsuji, Honma and Makabe. I did laugh, by the way, that Kevin Kelly did the "Hey, it's Honma," even though he didn't wear his mask.
It's not a mask, it's a Lego head.
Oh, it's weird Lego head thing from the G1. This was a really good match, and I will say, one of the biggest success stories, Mike, we've spoken about this, is how good the LA Dojo guys are.
Yeah, like, they went in quite in depth talking about them on New Year's Dash today, they did. But, like, all 3 guys, we've had the chance to see them in person once, but seeing them the second half of 2019, they're skill-wise, they're just outstanding. They're fundamental, phenomenal, and it's an amazing thing for them because they all look great.
Yeah, they do.
They've got all the aesthetics.
They are 3 of the most American-looking men I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
They look... Go on, Steph.
Yeah, Carl Fredericks looks extremely American. But yeah, I think the LA Dojo guys are really good. Actually, especially Carl. He seems like he's got everything they need in New Japan, and he seems like extremely disciplined, hardworking guy that's really going to go far.
Yeah, with them 3, I just look at them. It's like Abercrombie and Fitch, but wrestling. But Carl Fredericks is brilliant, and I love the fact you can clearly tell who's the Japanese dojo trainer. It's Makabe, isn't it? Is one of the main ones. It's Liger and Makabe.
Liger and Nagata.
Yeah.
And Nakanishi. And
it's
the dads.
Yeah, you got the New Japan dads. And you can tell because like the Japanese ones, they're a little bit more kind of not light-hearted, but a little bit more easygoing compared to the ones that are trained by Shibata. All intense, no happiness at all. I like Tsuji though. He's gonna have a breakout 2020. I'm a really big fan of Tsuji. So
it's mad to think, like 12 months ago we were saying that about like Narita and Shota. Oh yeah. And like you got Yumura and Tsuji this year. And you think like Tsuji had a really good Young Lions Cup, but Yumura had a terrible Young Lions Cup. So hopefully that's not setting back at all.
Yeah, Hinare won with the Toa bottom, really, really good. Then we got into Tenkozy up against Nagata and Nakanishi, which was full-on dad warfare. You love to see it.
It's what we come to New Japan for.
Legitimately, we come for the wrestling, we stay for the dads. This was as good as you expect. That sounded really weird, didn't it?
You said it, not me.
Please don't clip that. This was as good as you can expect from 4 of New Japan's elder statesmen. Actually, on this, by comparison to other people, not the elder statesmen on the show, but they are definitely some of New Japan's elder statesmen. Kojima won with the old Western lariat. Hopefully, he got that bread post match. Now we can get into the main card, starting off with Liger's retirement match, part 1. Which was Taguchi, Takiyawa, Otani, and Sano against Jushin Thunder Liger, Tiger Mask, Fujinami, and the Great Sasuke. If you check out McIver's review actually on twm.news, this seems like a dig, but I don't think it's not, Steph. I wonder if you agree with this. He said, like, this was so much better than it had any right to be. Like, I thought this could be a bit of a procession, a bit of a lap of honour for Liger, but fair play. Like, I wrote down, these granddads can still, Granddad and Taguchi, the creepy Uncle Taguchi, these guys, even though in their advancing ages, could all still go, and it was brilliant to see.
Yeah, but that's kind of the thing about Liger, isn't it? That he's retiring, but he really has no reason to.
Yeah.
It just makes it even worse that he's retiring.
Yeah. Again, show of hands. There's been 3 moments. Who cried in all 3? Yes, I did.
Yes.
Got emotional every time I saw Liger. Made me very do it, especially the second day. We'll get into the exact moment. We spoke about this on the Indie Wrestling Show several times. One of the main talking points that wasn't Liger for this was just seeing Sasuke wrestle again. He's just insane, and it's brilliant.
Yeah, just the callbacks for everything throughout careers, and it's like some of these guys, you realistically look at it and go, beforehand I was like, they've got no right to be in like a match like this or anything, but like seeing Sasuke was amazing. But like over the 2 days seeing Naoki Sano, I'm like, do you think we can get him in the J Cup or like, you know, Best of Super Juniors this year? Maybe
it's one of those things. It's like you watch this and it's insane, but then again, like, I only really clocked, I've seen them now and again, like they do have like the Masters events where it's just all the old lads get together for a bit of a tear up, which I would love to go to. It sounds amazing. I just liked just Sasuke just going around constantly doing swantons, including one over the top rope which the New Japan cameras missed. That's been the biggest negative of this past weekend.
Or the cameras. The
New Japan camera crew missed a Sasuke senton,
a number of things,
and something that legitimately triggered me at the end of this night, and we'll get to that. Shock. Like, I know the whole thing of going out on your back, but I think a lot of people assumed he'd win at least one. But the fact that he got pinned by... I know, but obviously it makes sense now because he loves Taguchi. The fact that Taguchi pinned Liger with the Dodon at the end was just... Yeah.
It was. I kind of thought this would be the one that he'd win. Like he'd have pinned Sano, like something like that.
Yeah.
Just so he could have one moment with his hand raised one last time in the dome. But interestingly, sorry, this fact just popped into my head. After the 2 matches, Liger actually finished on 50 matches in Tokyo Dome, which is a cool number to finish on.
That's cool. Yeah, I like that. Nice and round this way. I need 2 matches. Yeah. Why? I need to finish on an even number.
Why do we need to do 2 domes? Well, I'm going to retire. I've only got 48 matches.
I mean, what do you think that happened because Liger demanded it? We're doing 2 nights of the Dome next year. Why? Because I fucking said so. I need 2 matches beforehand.
Look, I'm going to lose on both, but still, like, you know, I need a 50.
We then go into 2 multi-man matches. We had Suzuki Gun, which was Despy, Taichi, Suzuki, and Zack Sabre Jr. going over LIJ, Bushi, Shingo, Evil, and Sanada. Big question I want to ask on this, Steph. Like, they were fine matches, both ones, and the one with Chaos and Bullet Club after this. But did they really warrant being on Wrestle Kingdom at all?
This is the thing. Like, I had this written down as a question for myself for the next match. I did wonder if I started thinking about how if we only had one night of Wrestle Kingdom, what an incredible card you could have made.
Yeah.
And yeah, matches like these, like obviously New Japan loves these big tag team matches, but for Wrestle Kingdom, when there was so much good stuff, I did start to wonder, like, should it have been one night?
I think because what would happen is you'd have had an amazing Wrestle Kingdom and a very stacked New Year's Dash. But I feel like they did it for the. I don't know. It's a weird one. Very strange that they did this and then didn't fill all the cards up with like masses of big matches. But I don't know.
Like I said. I said it last week and I've said it to you a couple of times. This day one felt like a Dominion because of these sorts of matches, and day two felt like a Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, you are right.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, but there's some people on these multi matches that I would rather just seen had a singles match on. Like, if you were doing 2 days of Wrestle Kingdom, there's some people that could have had a singles match then instead of the multi-man matches.
And then everyone else could have been something that me and Mike are still upset that it's not on the card anymore. We always want it, and it's the New Japan Rumble. I miss the New Japan Rumble so much that I have watched every New Japan Rumble on New Japan World and the Honor Rumble from G1 Supercard over the last 3 days. So this, like, you got basically battle between the warring factions. We got a little preview of Sanada and Zack Sabre Jr., but then Bushi got tagged in and got tied up in knots for the submission. I can't remember what submission he did. It's probably the one with the long name. Post-match, Sanada then trapped Zack Sabre Jr. in Skull End. And one of many amazing Zack Sabre Jr. quotes from this past weekend. Zack just shouting to Sanada, "Using the Dragon Sleeper while Fujinami's here? How dare you?" I love him. And the thing is, though, the best quote of the night, I've not seen it. I just got texted it by Mike and burst out laughing earlier on. But we'll get to that in a little bit.
Oh, you mean from today?
Yeah, from today. That generally killed me.
I think I know.
It's not funny because he's getting one of my favourite wrestlers, but generally just popped me huge. So in the next one we had Yoshihashi, Toru Yano, Ishii and Goto up against Chase, Takahashi, Bad Luck Fale and Kenta. As we said on Wednesday's show last week, if we have two people that constantly eat pins in the same match, who's going to eat the pin? Turns out Takahashi. No, it turned out being neither one of them because Chase was in the match as well. I did like this because you had Yano telling everyone, I start, turns round and sees Fale and just regrets all of his life choices up until that point.
I feel like we don't see enough Yano.
What, just in general, in life?
Just in general, like, it's like he was there for, like, obviously saw him so much throughout the G1. And then, like, he just seemed to go missing. And then, like, you pop back for the tag league, I know, but still, just not enough of him.
Well, he's got like 45 businesses.
That's true.
As well as being, like, the lead tourism for his hometown. So, we got, also, I just want to see Goto and Cabana as a team. Yano and Cabana as a team, because it's just... they were the best. I want more of it. We got some Goto and Kenta preview, which I brought up, but we did see, and Steph, an absolutely mad Ishii getting Fale up for the Brainbuster, which was just insane.
Yeah,
love that. Goto won with hitting GTR on Yujiro for the win. I'm going to bring this up now because obviously before the show even started, as people filed in, they had the Stardom dark match, which was basically a big PR stunt to announce they'd signed Stardom, which I'm really happy for. Like, it looked really cool to have people like Hana Kimura and Mayu Iwatani and Yulia in this match and stuff. But, like, I got a bit of a bad taste in my mouth when they've got the Stardom match on Dark at the top of the show, being like, we've got this women's promotion, it's great. And then, like, am I being overly like SJW cock, as the internet calls it, to be like, you're going to have Peter and the camera firmly up her backside the entire time, still on your product, when you've just previewed Stardom in a dark match? I feel like it's a bit counterproductive.
Shall I answer this?
No, I want Mike's opinion.
Wow.
Yeah, feel free. Like, it's just something that it left me a little bit iffy.
Yeah, Peter is. I actually I like Peter because I do like there's still being valets in wrestling. However, the way they portray her, it's too much with the cameras, and there's been some backstage stuff this year that has been too much as well. And yeah, it is like a weird blind spot in New Japan where they don't seem to get that it is really bad.
It's like they do run hot and cold, because you have like Peter with all that stuff, and they used to do it with Maria Kanellis loads as well, where it would be perv cam right up, and like, I imagine if you're like 13, 14 and you're seeing this, I imagine it's very exciting. But as a 30-year-old man and I'm watching on a massive TV, I really don't want my neighbours looking through and seeing that, to be honest. But then on the other side, you've got like Miho, and Miho's kind of presented in a very different way. Like, she's presented as a valet who sometimes uses her femininity to kind of distract other opponents, but not in as aggressive way as Peter's portrayed. So they have got a bit of a multi-personality thing going on with all the women in New Japan. It does baffle me sometimes, but then again, you could use the phrase "because Japan," because they are a bit. Sometimes there is some things in culture in Japan that you've seen online and stuff that they are a bit one side one way, but then completely hard left the other. So I don't know. It's just maybe something they need to keep an eye on, especially if they've, the parent company's just bought a Joshi promotion, and then they're going to have stuff like that. Maybe something to be aware of, Mike.
Yeah, like I do agree. Like, you can't. If you're trying to empower women by having stardom, you can't go the opposite end and not necessarily degrade, but devalue women almost.
Yeah, it's just a strange one. But then again, you can't say they don't objectify the men. They had the big bodybuilding competition, didn't they? So they kind of do both in a weird way.
Yeah, but Taguchi took the piss out of it all, so it's kind of fine.
Yeah. What, Taguchi standing there in his pants looking like a confused dad? Generally one of the greatest photos ever committed to film. Let's go back to wrestling. IWGP Tag Team titles. Finn Juice defeated GOD, as I think they should have in the grand scheme of things. But the main thing here is to talk about, guys, what in God Earth was Juice wearing? What did he looks like the creepy? He looks like a creepier third member of Breezango. It was.
I feel like he wore what happiness is.
What are you wearing? Happiness.
Yeah.
It's just, like, I know he's like the flamboyant Jude Robinson, but that was just bizarre. And by comparison, having Finlay next to him in just his like leather jacket, just.
Yeah, that's what I didn't understand, why Finlay didn't make the effort.
I was imagining Finlay turning up and Juice is like, are you fucking serious? Look at what I'm wearing. Look at my moustache, and you're wearing the same jacket you've worn for the last 2.5 years.
Finlay just imagine like a crazy pirate look or something.
Yeah,
like just do something.
What, they just really committed to the full Village People vibe that Juice was putting on there.
Absolutely. Like, the first thing I thought when I saw Juice was Village People, and then, but why isn't Finlay a member?
He's not allowed.
He didn't get a call up for the army.
Yeah, he's not allowed in it. Finn Juice gets the jump on GOD, and then Finlay gets yeeted off the ramp, so the Gorilla's Destiny work over Juice. Finlay finally gets back in, but they work over his shoulder. We get Juice hot tag, and he runs wild with big moves. GOD go for the super bomb, but Finlay counters that with a Rana, which is a really nice move. Jada goes for the kendo stick shot, doesn't work. Finn Juice hit Pulp Friction, and then the acid drop combo meal for the win. It was a good match. It was good. I enjoyed it. I've said this to you before, Mike, a bunch of times, that they need to get the belts away from GOD and LIJ for a bit. So
yeah, like, the last few WrestleKingdoms have just been those guys, but it's kind of nice to see these now taking a slightly different direction. But in a way, I kind of felt that it was the result of this match ruined Juice's match on the next night.
What do you mean?
So the whole thing they were going through was like, hey, we're going to crown the first double champion, basically, in New Japan. Yeah, they inadvertently booked themselves into almost doing it earlier in the card.
They did mention it though. They did say about, like he could do his own double gold dash beforehand. So, but
it was a bit of a spoiler though, because they did say Juice could do it, but you just know they weren't going to let like the twist be that actually Juice is the double champion.
Who was like
Soz Naito.
My moment, please. Speaking of titles, the United States title as well. In the Texas Death match, Jon Moxley over Lance Archer. I bloody love this match. It was so good. It's just my graps all day. Two large, angry American men trying to legitimately kill each other. It was great. So they start off straight away. Mox hits a huge dive onto Archer. Archer yeets a chair into Moxley's face. We get kendo sticks and trash cans. They did very well on covering up Lance Archer, like messing up his rope walk by basically just saying that Mox covered it by just hitting with weapons and being like, well, he lost his footing, and Mox capitalized. Archer then hits an apron chokeslam, and presumably angered by the fact that he messed up his rope walk, he grabbed our own Gabriel Kidd and just threw him into Jon Moxley.
He kind of deserved it.
So was it his fault that Lance Archer fell off the rope just by being there?
Yes.
So there we go. It's Gabriel Kidd's fault. We get a very nice counter where Archer goes for the EBD claw and he counters it into an armbar. So Lance Archer naturally just tries to murder Jon Moxley with a plastic bag.
I like the way you say he didn't try and murder. Do you say that as if he didn't try and murder him throughout the whole match?
Well, this was like most of them were like wrestling murder. This was like actual trying to kill someone.
So what you're saying is like the rest were attempted murder. This was actual murder.
Yeah, like did no one else sit this and go, well, this has taken a dark turn when Lance Archer pulls out a plastic bag?
I was just disappointed it was a single-use bag. You've got to think of the environment.
Oh yeah, what? Imagine, my God, Lance Archer pulled out the bag for life.
Exactly, the irony of it.
The bag for life is going to be your death.
That would be awesome. Like everybody dies with the bag for life.
Now that's a t-shirt I'll buy.
New Japan, if you're listening, merch idea: everybody dies Lance Archer branded bag for life. Steph will take 10%. That's all she wants for that idea. Just to generally pop. That was me. I might have to Photoshop that and put that on. Lance Archer holding a bag for life. Then we get the Death Rider through two tables, which looked rough as anything, and you could tell because all you saw was Lance Archer get up and just saw blood everywhere. I'm like, did he like get his face properly like caved in for the table? But it was his arm. I think he sliced his arm on the table, didn't he?
It was just because the tables actually broke for once.
I know. Jon Moxley so hard he can break two Japanese tables. He can't answer the 10 count, so Moxley wins the belt back. Yeah, that made sense because Archer was almost pretty much in like quote unquote interim champion, because then you knew they would give the belt back to Mox the second he could get over back over to Japan. Right. IWGP Junior Heavyweight. Yeah, everyone take a breath because this was as insane as we thought it would be. Hiromu Takahashi over Will Ospreay to win the Junior Heavyweight Championship. Mike, Jesus H. Christ, what a match.
I kind of feel as if this match actually, it had genuinely been brewing for 18 months without us knowing, and like all the emotion and just the build to it came through with just the match, but without actually having that.
Yeah,
if that makes any sense.
It's just they went 100 miles an hour from the off, big move after big move, no letting up. Steph, the spot, the moment that's been gifted about 4,000 times at this point. Just there's no words to describe how insane. Sasuke gets ducked. Hiromu goes for a German. He flips out of it. Hiromu then throws Will, and Will somehow, in midair, manages to roll through the bottom and middle rope. In that roll, gets back onto his feet, hits the ropes again, and then hits a Sasuke.
This was such an incredible match. Like, I didn't even write anything about this match because I was having so much fun watching it.
I do believe when I did the results for this, my first line was, there are so many moves and it's going so fast, there is no point me trying to write down everything that happened. Just letting you know, they went ever so quickly.
I think this was my match of the night. This
was my match of night one. It wasn't my match of the weekend. I actually have a surprising one from day two that was my match of the whole thing. But this was brilliant. You had the top rope body scissors, the hidden blade, the time bomb, all kicked out of it. A fantastic counter from the Stormbreaker into a code red, which was just delicious.
The hidden blade was insane.
He proper took his head off with it.
It was genuine shades of Ibushi last year.
Yeah.
And can I say how incredible the gear was for both of them coming out?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They both looked... That was what you should look like at Wrestle Kingdom. And I need to mention this because it will lead on to a point I'll make very soon. But that was incredible, both of their coats. And also, there was something about both of their gear that just worked together, like the colors going together during the match.
Yeah, I did like the subtle nuances of Ospreay having the tiger. Basically, the whole thing of the whole cat thing is like, I'm not a cat anymore. I'm now grown. I am a tiger, and I'm gonna like literally rip your face off. Meanwhile, Hiromu was just like, yeah, fuck it, I'm a peacock. Like,
exactly,
which was brilliant.
It's like, nah, I've changed species now.
I'm no longer a cat. Hiromu hits this leg trap time bomb. Generally, just for some reason, it killed me when in his promo. I was like, that amazing new move. What do you call it? He just goes time bomb 2.
Of course he did. Why would it be anything else?
And, go and see this match. It's obscenely good. I know I am the resident Will Ospreay fanboy, but it's so good. It's such a good match, as we thought it would be.
I would never call myself a Will Ospreay fan, but he just so regularly has these matches that blow me away that it makes me wonder why I don't call myself a Will Ospreay fan.
I'm biased because I'm legitimately 20 minutes away from where he grew up, so it's kind of, I sort of went, the amazing wrestler, and he's from Essex, get in. So I end up immediately just being a huge Will Ospreay like mark, for the lack of a better term. But this was so good. I love Hiromu as well, so I'm very happy with all of this. It didn't come out of didn't come without a cost though for Will, because I think he's messed up. I think he's broken his heel or he's damaged his heel on the Sasuke. Yeah,
he needs a scan on it, but he wrestled today. He looked fine. He did.
Yeah, he struggled to get in the ring in the retirement ceremony though. I saw that.
Well, that's just Will in general though, isn't it?
Struggling to do.
He can go over the ropes, can't go through it. unless Hiromu throws him through.
Yes.
I've got a question. So I was quite sort of how can I phrase it, like down on the fact that Will was only wrestling on night 1 and not night 2. Do we think they would have had as good of a match and as insane of a match if Will had wrestled both nights?
Yeah, because it's Will. And Will would do that at the risk of his own well-being, as would Hiromu.
Yeah, I think so as well.
I should probably rephrase the question then. I think that he's gone to that level in this match because he was only on one night.
That makes, I would say that he's up to level.
That's what I mean.
He's on like, well, if we're doing this, then we're doing this proper if I'm not wrestling night 2, which is a fair enough point. I'm wondering, my big question is this going to be his last match in the junior division? I
think so.
I think he's moving up.
It appears his next direction is with a heavyweight.
Yeah, which we'll get to in a little bit. Let's get to the Intercontinental Championship match. Tetsuya Naito defeated champion Jay White. I'm sorry, I thought this match was really boring. I couldn't get into it. I know I'm doubling down on my dislike of in-ring Jay White. Everything outside the ring, love Jay White. He's a tremendous heel, and I'm fairly certain that I am getting worked something chronic by Switchblade because he generally annoys me when I'm watching him wrestle. But it works. Like, but for me, I just couldn't get into this at all. Did anyone else find this was just a little bit meh? But am I just being the biased one here, or
shall I say my thoughts?
Yes, let's go over to our to the person who's actually, I don't know. I'm intrigued next. You've got some interesting thoughts. So I'm wondering whether this is going to be the swerve we're all expecting or not. So yeah, what were your thoughts on this match?
Well, I think obviously I made it clear how much I like Jay White, but this was not Jay White's night. And so did either of you think, like, for a second he was actually going to win this match?
No.
Never.
No. Yeah, because I 99% was like, he's not going to win. And then as soon as he came out, I was like, well, now I'm 100%, because firstly I thought, like, the gear really bothered me.
I hate that white. I used the term white very loosely because it looks like he hasn't washed them ever.
It's the gear he wore was not Wrestle Kingdom worthy. It was like the gear he's always wearing. Like, I don't know whether the jacket was a specifically new one that looks like another one, but either way, there was nothing special about this gear, which instantly made me think he is losing, and he knows this is not his Wrestle Kingdom, so he kind of doesn't care. And that was the vibe I kind of got from the beginning.
That's a really interesting point. That's a very, very interesting point.
Like,
it's a very valid point.
This last year he came out and he had like the white coat and everything, and I really, I like good gear, so I was actually excited, like, what's Jay White going to wear, which sounds silly, but I felt that way about Hiromu as well, and I was not disappointed there. And when he came out in that, I just thought, like, this guy is over it already. Like,
I get your point. I completely get your point, because I always say this, like, this is why I like Japan, and it's why I like women's wrestling a lot as well, because it's more aesthetically pleasing in the non like looks way. In the like women's wrestling, the gear is so much like more flamboyant and wrestling-y when it comes to women's wrestling compared to men's. And in New Japan, the gear is so much more what you'd expect wrestlers to wear, rather than your normal like black boots, black tights you get in like British and American wrestling. But I do agree, yeah, that did seem like night. Was this the night? Was he wearing his big fluffy white coat on this one? Was that the night too, Naito?
He wore.
Was it the grey or was
he wore grey on night one and white on night two.
Yeah, he had like the big fluffy coat, the John Motson, if you will. But
yeah, basically,
yeah.
But I think a lot of the time, maybe it's just me, but when I'm thinking about New Japan, I think a lot more about kind of the thinking behind the booking than I would if we were talking about WWE.
Yeah.
Because there is some thought behind the book.
Yeah. But if someone asks me who do you think's going to win, I would try and think like Gato. So yeah, I felt that Jay was basically told, you're not winning. Gato probably said, I love you, but we have to get this Naito thing done with. And he just thought, okay, well, I'm not going to put any effort into my gear, and the match is going to be not my best at all, because it wasn't anything compared to the other times he's faced Naito.
I would agree, because I'm thinking back to, like, I've enjoyed some. I feel like he needs the right opponent. Him against Okada from would be last Wrestle Kingdom or the Wrestle Kingdom before was great, and it's because even if I'm not a big fan of in-ring Jay White, well, current in-ring Jay White, I did like him when he was longer in Ring of Honor. I was a big fan of his stuff there. It might be heel Jay White, I'm just not a massive fan of in-ring, which again could be the point that I'm just being completely worked by him being a bad guy.
He's working you, but
he's massively. I know in reality that he's just doing his job, and I realise he's just a really, really good heel, but it bothers me that he's got me this bad.
But the thing is, like, when people say that he's boring and whatever, that all to me is a complete work, because if you watch his earlier work before he became Switchblade, like he can pull off the exciting moves and stuff, and he chooses not to do them. Like, I remember seeing him at a Rev Pro show this time last year where he pretended like he was going to do something high risk. I can't remember what it was. And then he was just like, yeah, I'm not killing myself for you. And I think that is what he's doing with his character. He's going to make you go, oh, Jay White's really boring. And once in a while, he will pull off something really surprising to show that he can do it, but you
got that in this match with the when he did the Saito suplex over the ropes, and Okada just landed on his head. Not Okada, I've got two wrong. Naito landed on his head in a really nasty bump. But this weird thing, I'm going to bring up a reference here. I remember reading this is years ago, like a blog post from JBL, and he was talking about how he went to some indie show and was like, he saw these like bad guys like doing ranas and moonsaults. He's like, why? You're meant to make yourself not liked by not doing flashy moves. He's like, I wouldn't do my big power moves when I wrestled. I would just do loads of chin locks. And it works with Randy Orton when he was a heel. He'd just always do chin locks, and it would bore the crowd, and it worked. So mate, I am being massively worked by this, but I do agree that this wasn't their best. It wasn't their best.
There was also too much interference as well. The Gato interference has kind of run its course.
Yeah, massively. Like,
because it's in every single match.
He just needs to now come in like he did on the I saw that on News Edge. Just come in and immediately now just eat shit, like get taken out immediately. I did a bit at the start where Jay's trying to do his time wasting, so Knight just grabs Gedo and uses him as a hostage. He's like, get in the ring, I'm going to batter your manager, which works.
That's always good, because then you get to hear Jay go, you okay, Gedo?
I think with Jay White, I think a lot of people miss, like, it kind of, I think, sums up some of the stuff you were saying, where he's amazing, like all the little nuances, but because they're not flashy, or he's there to make the other guy look so much better than what they are.
Yeah. We got the Blade Runner and Destino's counted 4 off, and then Naito won with the third Destino. It was okay. It wasn't. I'm getting worked by Jay White. I'm aware of this now. We talk about gear we didn't like. Let's talk about Okada's gear. Good lord, that was beautiful.
Yeah.
That was WrestleKingdom.
It was when the lights went down and you could realise it was glow in the dark gear as well. I was just like, just stunning. You have won New Japan's next top model. Well done, Kazu. Yeah.
One like Project Runway or Drag Race or something.
He's won all of them because of that coat. However, New Japan Pro Wrestling, sort your shit out. We pay our money to see Okada take off his skirt to see the shorts, and you cut away. How dare you cut away?
I pay to see the thighs, not the shorts.
Yes.
Each their own.
I did I was going to just say on commentary, sorry, I was going to say on commentary, did you notice that Gino went, oh, they are shorter than usual this year?
Gino's a man of the people.
Yeah. What did you say, Steph?
His umbrella during the entrance.
Oh, yeah, that was really, really cool. The whole...
all of it just needed to be captioned like, this is WrestleKingdom.
Yeah.
Like, the entrance, the outfit, it's kind of like what I was saying about Jay. Like, Okada came out as the major star, and it was just everything that a WrestleKingdom or WrestleMania or any big show entrance should be. It was awesome.
Yeah, it's just was it kind of like the one that had the Raptor back in the day, or the giant T-Rex at WrestleKingdom? Was that Nakamura? I can't remember. I have to look that up. One of them is legitimately a giant mechanical dinosaur.
Yeah, but you look at like some of that, like Kenny Omega had over the past few years. They've just been batshit crazy.
Yeah, or Kushida with the DeLorean
with the little kid.
Yeah, with the terrifying child. Good Lord. I forgot about that.
I'd forgotten about that too. But Wrestle Kingdom entrances are so much better than WrestleMania entrances.
Yeah.
It's like Nakamura, I think it's the last two entrances he had, the ones with the girls dancing, and then the one where he came out doing this like Queen Statue of Liberty type look. That's two of my favorite all-time entrances.
I remember the girls one. I can't remember the other one.
I remember the other one. I do.
Yeah, the girls one is actually my favorite entrance that a wrestler has ever made.
I think that was the first Wrestle Kingdom I actually watched, because that was the one I swear had a card with the giant dinosaur. Like that just sticks in my mind that someone had a massive dinosaur as they came out. The same one had Balor, Devitt, come out of the coffin as well. Yeah. This was brutal, by the way. Like, these two just tried to legitimately kill each other. Big DDT on the outside to get the best of Ibushi, but he kept fighting back. Ibushi had the golden triangle, and what they kept calling was the bastard driver, I think they kept calling it. Ibushi at one point went full Vader and just stopped selling and started kicking the crap out of Kazu, which was...
I thought that was great, though. But it looked so good in that point, at that moment, just because he was like, I don't care. I want to win this match. I'm going full pelt.
I wrote for that. The masochist turned into a sadist.
It was just...
That was my note for that.
That's broken, Mike. That one.
It's so true, though. It's so true.
I just like the bit where he just starts like sniffing and rubbing his nose, like he had just like he's just has gone like something's just kicked in, and now all of a sudden I am invincible.
I saw one tweet and all it said was, Kenny.
Oh yeah, no, I saw that as well. I saw a much more vulgar tweet, which I will say off pod. I'm not saying it on pod. Okada hits an apron tombstone, which gets Ibushi a 19. And then, as always, it seems with any big match that Ibushi's in, he goes for the Phoenix Splash and misses. And Okada keeps hitting Rainmakers, but then Ibushi hits a Kamagoi out of nowhere. There was I can't remember if this was before or after, where Ibushi goes for the Kamagoi, but somehow Okada jumps up as he's being pulled in and hits a drop kick, and I'm like, I don't know how he did that.
Yeah.
Legitimately seemed physically impossible. Okada hits the sit-out tombstone, which apparently he's done before. I've never seen him do the sit-out one, but yeah, he hits the Rainmaker for the win. This was a brilliant match. Absolutely loved it. Of course, because it's Kazu and Kota, so big thumbs up.
This was my match of the night.
This podcast, and indeed all TWM podcasts, are brought to you by SquaredCircleBox.com, the only place for your monthly wrestling box needs. With things from superstars from WWE, AEW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, British Wrestling, Independent Wrestling, and loads more, it is the only place that matters if you want to get the best wrestling swag for a low, low price. That low, low price is just £25, people. What a bargain! And you can get snapbacks, t-shirts, magazines, DVDs, trinkets, whatchamacallit, doodads, you name it, they have it each and every month. And just because you listen to TWM, you sexy, sexy people, you get 10% off your first order. All you got to do is use the code TWM News in the checkout. Just use the code TWM News in the checkout for 10% off your first order at SquaredCircleBox.com.
Spread. I said, why not spread the gospel of the TWM squad with some of our lovely merch over at Teespring. We have t-shirts for all shapes and sizes, hoodies, sweatshirts, mugs, stickers, and loads more. Also, just for listening to this podcast, you can get 10% off your order. I said using the code podcast. That's podcast. Once again, podcast in the checkout for 10% off at teespring.com/stores/TWM-wrestling-merch. That's right. Praise. Testify.
2, and I will hand over to my learned friend Mike for this match, because I have not actually seen it. So the Never Openweight 6-man tag team titles, LIJ, they won over Taguchi Japan, which was Taguchi, Yano, and Makabe. Chaos, which was Robbie Eagles, Yoshihashi, and Ishii, and then Bullet Club, which was Chase, Yujiro, and Farley. So how was this? I did hear there was a notable fuck up somewhere in this match, but
it was better than last year's, I think. I'm not gonna lie, I can't remember the order. I'm gonna go through people that stood out.
I'm fairly certain it
really stood out.
I'm pretty sure it was Bullet Club. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure it was Bullet Club and Chaos first. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Bullet Club and Chaos.
Chaos were definitely in. Chaos were in the first part and got knocked out, like in the semi-final, so to speak.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's about right.
Like Robbie Eagles looked amazing on this. He got a lot of offense in, and that filled me with a lot of joy, because I was quite down on the fact that he wasn't technically on either card when they announced the cards for the pre-show matches went up. I like the fact that they had the champions come in as the last team as well.
Made sense.
Just made sense. You build all the way through it, even though it was a random draw, so they say. Yeah, like Robbie Eagles was the big one to stand out from that. I just hope that we see the titles more going forward.
Yeah, like the only thing I heard was apparently Evil hit Darkness Falls on Ishii, and either Ishii kicked out late or forgot to kick out, and they had to just shoot.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's just come back into my mind, because that looked a messed up fall, but
yeah.
I think it was always supposed to be the fall at that point anyway.
That's why I think afterwards I read this on our results, that apparently afterwards they just did the finish anyway. Did the Everything is Evil just so they got it out of the way. Also, I did notice on Twitter, and I'm going to hold you to court here, you said this was Shingo's first title in New Japan, I do believe, or someone did. I can't remember who tweeted it, but it's his second. Didn't he win? He won the junior tag titles, I think.
No, he didn't.
I swear. Well, someone hammered home to me and told me to bring it up, that either he's won a belt before in New Japan. This was not his first title. I think he won the junior tag belt to someone. I swear he did. I have to to the Google machine, but I'm fairly certain Shingo has won tag belts, the junior tag belts at some point. Anyway, we'll come back to that.
I think he has with Bushi?
I want to say Bushi, yeah. I'm pretty sure Shingo and Bushi... Google is not going to know who Shingo is by just typing the word Shingo. I got some Japanese artist.
Mine does. Yeah, it actually says Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championship one time with Bushi.
So he did, yeah. He did. He won the Junior Heavyweight Tag Belts once.
I blame autocorrect. It self-deleted the singles title. and it was 5 o'clock in the morning, so fuck you.
Fair enough. Let's get into the first match of day 2, which was Hiromu and Ryuli over Jushin Thunder Liger and Naoki Sano. We all said we cried when Liger came out, particularly the moment where they cut and Hiromu, you could clearly see in Hiromu's face that it just dawned on him how important this was.
Yeah. When I thought Hiromu was going to cry, that's when I was going to cry.
Don't just all you want to see is him just hold up Daryl to his face so he can't see him cry.
He did cry, in my opinion, and I was right there with him.
Yeah, he's just it was so emotional. Basically, we just got all of Liger's greatest hits in a really highly competitive match, which I liked, because they did the whole thing of Hiromu and Ryuli were like, no, you this is a match. This isn't your retirement. This is a match. I want you to take this seriously. Because they didn't have the interaction at the meet and greet, didn't they, between Hiromu and Liger? Was that the one where this match came about?
Yeah. I like this match for the fact that Liger was in there and he took the lion's share of the match as well.
Yeah,
just I'm going out on my way. I'm gonna do the greatest hits and everybody's gonna love it.
Hey, fair play to Naoki Sano though. Hit a top rope drop kick.
Sano for the best of Super Juniors.
Get him in. Liger hit brainbusters and shotes, but then got hit with a lariat and the time bomb did it. And thank you, Liger. You are the best. And then the retirement ceremony was so sad that it broke New Japan World for about 10 minutes.
10 minutes? No, it was about an hour. It was out for a while.
Oh, mine was fine. After about 10 minutes, I went back from Fight to New Japan. This is why we love the guys at Fight for a backup.
It was it was concentrated. New Japan World was.
Yes, it was. They were concentrating very, very hard. Then we get junior tag title match, Roppongi 3K over the Bullet Club. I was chatting to you like off pod about this, and I said very much. Steph can obviously chime in on stuff. I said that first of all, I said that El Phantasmo reminds me so much of a young Rob Van Dam. Like, the way he carries himself and the way he is such a good, shitty little heel, it just reminds me so much of RVD. But then I started looking at it and going, ELP and Ishimori remind me a lot of RVD and Sabu when they were a team in ECW, minus all the tables and stuff. Like,
yeah, I can certainly see it. Like, ELP, he's got all the athleticism and more, and kind of slightly less of the strength, if you get what I mean. Like, they've kind of put RVD in, and you just messed about with like the attributes a little bit.
RVD, but more Canadian. That's what we've done. More lights, more Canadian.
ELP is one of the nicest voices in wrestling.
Yes, this is true. He does. He's a very calm voice for a man who's his own worst enemy.
He's a really charismatic guy. I think, like, from when I've seen him at like cockpit shows. I find him like very charismatic and very good and exciting to watch.
I've just realised this random thing. I'm now starting to realise that maybe us three have all been at the same cockpit show, and we've not realised.
Oh wow!
I feel like we probably have been. Yeah, there's a good chance we've been at cockpit shows and not realised. Because my point was, did anyone see? I think you would have seen the tweet, Steph. You would have seen it, but from going to Attack, it's like, did you see the career progression of ELP over the last 3 years?
Yes.
2018, chasing around Bigfoot in an abandoned bingo hall in Cardiff. 2019, walking out in a music venue in London after being murdered by the Illuminati. 2020, wrestling in the Tokyo Dome.
Wrestling's weird.
He's had a very strange 3 years, hasn't he?
He lived in Wolves, what you expect.
Yeah.
He's when I first started seeing him, he's kind of older than I thought he would be.
Yeah, he's been around for a while. That's what I was shocked about. Like, he's been around for ages, and he kind of busted on the scene, I want to say, 2-3 years ago for Rev.
I'm pretty sure this is the first kind of year that wrestling has been his full-time job.
Yeah, that sounds about right as well. Because he's been around the UK scene for, I want to say,
I think his 2 years was his 2-year visa was up last summer.
Yeah.
So he's been like 2.5 years ago.
And that's when he moved to Japan. So
yeah.
All the dirty tactics from Bullet Club, the back rake, the eye rakes. I particularly loved ELP doing the Van Damme thing of doing a backflip into a back rake, which was brilliant. And then we get the double stand on the groin.
But the backflip into the backbreaker is a CCK nod.
They
do the assisted lung blower.
Yeah, I did. That's what I was going to say. Like, I can see that ELP has gone to Ishimori and gone, can we watch some CCK and alter some of their moves, because they do. I think I literally did tweet that. Well, that tag move looks pretty fucking sick. when they did the lung blower into the moonsault, I was like, yeah, no, we're giving a little nod to old Brooksy and Lycos. Show fought back with a huge spear, hit a double German on both Bullet Club members. ELP and Ishii go for the 3K, and did literally the year 9 thing of going 3K, which was so dumb, but so funny. He got Cal into a destroyer, which is really nice. Then ELP went for the dick punch.
Because he's a bastard.
And Sho was wearing a cup, and Gino just kept shouting, how do you get a cup that small? And then Rocky it took him about 10 minutes to finally think of a comeback. Which was from your locker room, mate. Sick burn. Hit the 3K and a double stomp
banter.
Solid year 9 banter, the best kind. And a double stomp shock arrow for the win. Really good match. Oh, this one, I forgot to mention, this was the line, my favourite exchange of the whole weekend. It was on night 1. Chris Charlton goes, ladies and gentlemen, it's the most exciting thing in sports entertainment. Rips the pants off and he goes, the pants are off. And then he just goes, it's not a, Rocky goes, it's not a move. Because Chris called it most excitement wrestling. It's like, it's not a move, Chris.
There was something at the start of night 1 though, where like the number 590 brought up, and like Chris just fired back at Gino. It was like, is that how much you weigh?
They were just gunning for Gino.
Brutal.
I think this was Gino going, right, if you're going to do this, I'm going to go full Bullet Club heel. Like, you can all piss off.
Chris is really, he's becoming more like kind of vocal with the comebacks and stuff, because when he started, we'd never imagine him saying anything.
Yeah, it's because we spoke about this before, but Mike brought this up. Obviously, he was earlier, or late last year, he was taken off the commentary. He was doing the translations, and then I think you said, didn't they, to the point where people were writing letters to TV Asai.
TVSI actually got so many complaints about it that they just had to put him back on and had to have him re-involved in the sort of like the production of the shows, because it's not just the translation, it's the insight that he gives. That, like, Kevin Kelly would be the first one to say that a lot of the facts he gets are actually from Chris.
Yeah, and I feel like if there was an award for like breakout commentator of 2019, probably would give it to Chris Charlton, because he's been so good. Now we're going to go, and this... Oh, sorry, go on, Steph, before we go to the next bit.
I was just going to say with Gino, obviously Gino's like pro Bullet Club, and like WWE should just watch how he manages to do that and be a heel, and for it all not to become an annoying shouting match between men. Yeah,
because you even had at the end of the show, when we get to the bit that happened at the end of night 2, you had the bits back and forth between Rocky of Chaos and Gino of Bullet Club, and they were like arguing, but it wasn't annoying, it was like quite tense, almost if it was going to come to blows, and it worked really, really well.
It's really good how they did, how they managed to have like a heel commentator on there, but he's not hitting you over the head with it, and he actually sometimes makes good points and stuff, and it's just very well done compared to other commentary that we hear.
Gino's got shades of Bobby Heenan in it.
You said that before. He's very Bobby Heenan as well, and Kevin Kelly's just great. Basically, this whole thing is us telling everyone how good New Japan's commentary team are. Now we're going to go, and this might be my spice take. I'm going to go to my favourite match of the whole weekend. I bloody loved Zack against Sanada. It was genuinely my favourite match. It was such good wrestling. It was just high intensity, hold for hold, submission stuff, and I can sometimes be quite hot and cold with like mat-based stuff. Sometimes I need the occasional flip, but all of it made sense. Like, you even had the bit of Sanada going for the standing moonsault, and the one time he went high risk, it immediately cost him, as Zack just tied him up in knots.
Well, like I've said to you before, like, Sanada is Zack's best opponent in New Japan.
Yeah, completely.
They just have this crazy ability where, like, there's a fight, and just a general fighting analogy that styles make fights, and these two just go together so well.
Yeah. Absolutely, just so good. So love this match. They keep going for constant pins, and then they keep exchanging European clutches, and then Zack eventually comes out on top and holds it. And this was just Tekka's. This was Tekka's the match, and I just loved it.
Can we just point out the fact that there was that long segment where they were sort of went pin, and they gave this match to Tiger Hattori, who was like, this was his last Tokyo Dome show.
Yeah,
just rip him on the way out.
Yeah, I love that. It's like, this is your last show. You're getting advanced in years. We're going to give you Zack and Sanada. Good luck, mate. Because even with like Ospreay and Hiromu, you just had to stand back and watch them do their moves. Whereas he's like, they will do about 40 pins in this match, so you better be on your game. Just love this match. Highly recommend it. Another one I reckon everyone should go out, scope out and see. Then we get to the United States Championship match, Jon Moxley over Juice Robinson. I agree with what Steph said earlier when he said about when you saw Jay White that you knew he wasn't winning, like none of us believed it, but this was based off booking. No one like thought they were going to give Moxley a one-day title reign as US champion, so we all knew that Juice was going to lose, but I guess at least he like made it seem like the match meant something, almost, if that makes sense.
Well, he had a marquee match, didn't he?
Yeah.
This was one of the marquee matches on this show, and you got to stand out on these shows, and I think in moving to Japan and being really committed to the company, they see a lot in him, and it's only going to work in his favour in the long run, because he could have half-assed it.
Yeah, this is true. So like they hit drop toe holds onto a chair, Juice dive onto Mox to open, cannonball into the chair. Moxley then hits him with a chair, and I love this. I think it was it Marty Asami who reffed this match?
I think so.
And then when Asami chastised him for using the chair, Moxley just goes, well, he started.
He's right.
He's not wrong. It's just really funny that he went for the year 4 approach of we started it. Mox locked in figure 4 to neutralise Juice, but he fought out. Then we get the bit where Juice is an idiot, like he did in the G1, and tried to punch his hand through a chair, but knocked Mox out with it. They exchange big Germans. Juice hits 2 left hand of gods, but then Mox just counters Pulp Friction into a dirty deed, rolled into the Death Rider for the win. And this is the part of the podcast where Mike gets to gloat about being a psychic.
Well, I'll use your phrase where I am Welsh Gado.
Yeah.
It was just beautiful. So like match ended, and I like the way in New Japan they give you enough time to process the result of what you've just seen, give the guy a moment, and then do something. So then the opening bars of Kazanina Ray start, and only in wrestling, and specifically Japanese wrestling, could a 51-year-old man walk out onto a stage, undress down to his pants, and walk down a stage and get cheered like just high hell. like it's like Suzuki and Moxley. It was just one of those matches that it came into my mind, and I was like, how have they not booked this yet? Because they're just so perfectly matched, and it almost just as sadistic as each other.
Yeah,
it's almost like it should be a Wrestle Kingdom match.
Yeah, absolutely. It should.
It's one of those things.
I'd be happy if they left it till Dominion to do this match.
I feel it's going to headline the whatever big show, the New Beginning, the USA tour. It's probably going to headline that, I'd imagine.
I don't think it can because of Moxley. AEW got the exclusive rights in America for Moxley.
Later on, we have we figured out we don't know what doors are open at this point anymore. So
there's at least a foot in the door.
Yeah, there might be a small window, maybe like the tiny windows you get in kitchens.
The portal is closed, but the door may be open.
Yeah, the portal's closed, but someone's left the fan heater on, so there's a little bit of a gap. I want to see this. Just preemptively could be my match of the year already. It's not even happened.
It's already my feud of the year.
Oh, just great.
With Moxley, can I ask if you both think that he himself thinks he made a mistake by not signing with New Japan like full time instead of AEW?
That's a really good question.
Because I honestly think that he thought, he's American, he has a wife and everything. It'd be so much easier to wrestle for an American company. And then he did the G1 and thought, fuck, I made a mistake. Because he just seems to have so much more fun and have so much better matches in Japan. And he actually seems more suited to New Japan than AEW. I feel
like with that's why he definitely said in his contract or whatever, he was like, I'm still wrestling for New Japan because it's something I want to do and I excel at it. If he's going to try and do both, like, fair play to him. At least New Japan isn't like constantly every week, whereas AEW is. But then again, AEW doesn't have house shows, so he can afford to miss the occasional one to do
he can do Japan weekend tours. Shows in Japan, can't he? And then he'll be back in Christ, he was on today's show and will be on TV in 2 nights' time.
Yeah. And they're not really using him to wrestle a lot on TV. They're using him and saving him for the pay-per-views because they can afford to do that with Moxley and AEW. So I do see a point. I imagine he's probably thinking what might have been because there's so many options there. Moxley in New Japan. So
yeah, I just think he feels like that. I think I said this in the Moment show that I really hated Dean Ambrose, and now I really like Jon Moxley because the G1 he just like showed a lot of range with how he was able to adapt himself to opponents. He showed he can kind of do anything, and New Japan I just think is actually a better fit for him than AEW. And I actually think in AEW he has the danger of becoming a bit more Dean Ambrose. Yeah. Like he might go into some kind of like weird, wacky comedy shit that he's not gonna like himself.
Yeah, I can see the trepidation. But
I kind of think that if he had come out of contract 12 months earlier, then he probably would have been more committed to New Japan. But with current sort of like how the world lies at the moment, I think professionally he potentially regrets it, but personally he doesn't, because his personal life is so much better now.
Yeah.
If you see anything about him in interviews, there was one he did with Chris Van Vliet recently, and he was just like, I never thought I would enjoy being home, and he's like, I love it. I just get to chill out with the dogs and just do stuff. And like, he lives in Vegas as well, so it's hardly the most chilled out of places.
Yeah.
But he just likes the fact that him and Renee can just go out for dinner whenever they're both home and just live as normal people. So I think if he was doing the longer tours in New Japan in the way like the Bucks used to do, like the real long tours, he would lose all of that, and I think he would mentally go back to like Dean Ambrose, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
where he was in that period. So it's kind of both ways.
Did anyone get a big laugh out of Renee Young showing her Wrestle Kingdom press pass, and she was under the name Mrs. Moxley, which generally, and then got grinded on by Martina, which is something I don't think any of us would have ever thought we'd see in 2020, but here we are nonetheless.
No, she will stop at nothing to grind on people.
Did you? The best thing about it is the conversation afterwards. It was like, lovely to meet you, and then Renee goes, lovely to meet you too. I'll make sure John pass on your love to your man Minoru. And then Martina just goes, well, we are both friends here, and we'll see which one of our other halves win. Which was great. Their Openweight Championship match, Hiroki Goto defeated Kenta. Like, I was shocked at this result, Steph, but in hindsight, you kind of know why they switched the belt with obviously what happened at the end of the show.
Honestly, Goto is my least favourite person to watch in New Japan and potentially broader.
It's Joe ruined him for me when he went around and said Hiroki Goto is the New Japan version of Dolph Ziggler, and it did really ruin it, because I was like, he really is, because he never wins the big match, does he?
There's something about him where he is portrayed as just completely pathetic, even if he wins, that I can't get into any Goto match. Even with Kenta being there, I was just like, it's Goto. Like, I actually pity him, and I can't.
Well, keep in mind, I think, Mike, you'll remember this, wasn't his entry video for the longest time just clips of him losing big matches?
Yeah. Well, like, let's be fair. New Japan troll Hiroki Goto. They keep making him the never openweight champion.
Yeah.
Because he will never be the IWGP champion.
Yeah.
He's asking for it.
Do you reckon Gato just shouts the word?
Hand.
Do you reckon Gato just shouts never? Is that you're winning the never openweight championship? Do you hear that, Goto? Never.
He's just like, there's such a tragedy to him, but it's not even one that you can sympathize with. It's just, and when he feuded with Jay earlier in the year, and Jay's promos towards him were stuff like, you won't be able to look in the mirror again, your wife won't even be able to look at you, and he's just saying all these things where you just thought, yeah, like, Goto is that kind of character.
Yeah, wasn't there one point last year where Jay White Goto wanted to challenge White for the belt, and where Jay White's response was just fuck off. No. Like, this was okay. It was basically a lot of Kenna hitting big kicks and then throwing him to the outside and hitting a big DDTs on the right, which Kenna seems to love doing DDTs at the moment. Goto gets a 19. They hit each other quite hard, big kicks and clotheslines. Kenna hits a PK and a flying knee, but then Goto kicks out. Here's the GTW, which no one knew what it was called apart from Chris Charlton, and
that's why he's there.
And then the GTR does it. It was okay. Then we get to Jay White over Kota Ibushi.
Can I start this one and just say I napped through this match?
I was looking at my phone a lot because it did feel like a football third place playoff. It was just it was there.
Even more so after the events of the end of the show.
Yeah, it really did, because the whole 2 days pretty much could be summed up as we've pushed Jay White back. We've pushed Jay White down to level 2. He's no longer tier 1 for now, anyway. Even though he got this win was literally ref bump, visual pin, Gato interferes 46 times, brass knucks, chair, Blade Runner, and I'm like, yeah, okay.
It was. I thought it was better than his first night match.
Oh no, it's better than Naito match, but still.
But I think that Kota is. I actually think Kota's Jay's best opponent, like rival, really. They're the two that I wanted in the G1 final because there's something, Kota is just such a sympathetic character. Just his face, you can't help but feel for Kota.
Yeah.
And such a smarmy, evil bastard heel that they just work so well together. I think they bring out the best in each other. It's a real proper heel face dynamic when they.
Well, that G1 match between White and Ibushi was literally the most stereotypical heel versus face match, because you had Ibushi on his own, the beloved underdog character, and then Jay White comes out with the entire Bullet Club, and it's just it was. That's one of the matches I've really enjoyed of Jay White's, was the one against Ibushi, because it just the narrative worked really, really well. Jay White post match hit a second Blade Runner and says he has a plan, which we'll find out later. Before we get into this match, I know there's something that Mike wants me to bring up. It's Tanahashi dressed as Jericho.
Yes, Japanese Mrs. Doubtfire.
Or as I believe I called it, what I keep calling this era of Jericho in Japan was, I see your dad's taking the divorce well. This was Hiroshi, I've seen your dad's taking the divorce well as well. Tanahashi. Oh my god, this was so weird but so funny at the same time.
So
it's almost like Tanahashi is taking the divorce that well that he started cross-dressing.
Yeah, Tanahashi's taking the divorce too well, is what we're saying. So we get Tanahashi over Chris Jericho. This was a really good match. Really good. Really,
really good.
First of all, we got the intrigue of him bringing out the AEW title and then mentioning the AEW a lot.
Did you... When he first came out, because my first wonder was, will he be wearing the title? And at first,
same here.
Yeah, and he came out with the t-shirt on, and I just looked at him and was like, someone overindulged at Christmas. And then he took the t-shirt off and he had the belt on, and I was just like, phew. Yeah. I'm great. Thank you.
Think of that's what Chris Charlton said when Chris Charlton talked about Tanahashi. He went, well, Jericho's not going to win any bodybuilding contests. I'm like, well, Chris Charlton's going to get a dry slap from Jericho backstage, isn't he?
I had that written down, that Chris Charlton said that Jericho won't be winning any prizes for aesthetics, but either in the last match or the night before, he called Kota beautiful. So that's kind of what Chris Charlton thinks about.
We know Chris Charlton's kink.
Yeah.
It's twinks.
Well, you said it. So they went hold for hold early on, then Tanahashi got low bridged and Jericho hits the triangle drop kick to take control, which I'm sure Jericho made Charlton watch that 14 times and go, yeah, am I aesthetically good enough now and I'm hitting triangle drop kicks, you bastard? Jericho then slams a gate really hard in Tanahashi's head, and then hits a DDT on the announce table. Jericho goes for what could possibly be the worst looking high fly flow I've ever seen. But misses. Jericho throws the referee away. Low blow to Tanahashi. Jericho uses his weight belt. Low blow to Jericho. Tanahashi hits the high fly flow to the outside. Jericho takes a 19. We get a lot of high fly flows. Jericho knees up on the high fly flow. Lion salt, near fall. Lion tamer, but Tanahashi powers out. We get a really nice counter from the high fly flow into a code breaker. Tanahashi goes for the high fly flow again. Jericho rolls through, does a lion tabor, and Tanahashi taps. I was shocked that it was a submission victory.
Yeah.
I kind of find it interesting that it was to the Walls of Jericho, which is a modified Boston Crab in New Japan.
They did bring that up.
It seemed to be quite a big, quite a deep sort of stab.
And the fact they kept calling it the Lion Tamer, I think that was the reason. Instead of calling it the Walls, they were calling it the Lion Tamer because it's the move that the young lions do, and I like that touch that they were bringing that up a little bit. Jericho, I wrote down, Jericho said he's done with New Japan, so I'll see you at New Year's Dash then. Didn't happen, but because Jericho is a liar. Right. The main event. Again, big breath for this one. In one show, I've never gone from crying at the opening to literally pumping my fist in the air at the end of it. generally, like I'd watched Fulham win the playoff final, I just went, yes, get in there when Tetsuya Naito beat Okada. This did fit the moniker of this match. It was a Wrestle Kingdom mega event. It worked so well. It was brilliant.
I think it was a match worthy of main eventing a 2-dome show.
Yeah, no question. So it went back and forth. We had they went back and forth. Big DDT. Naito hit combination Cabron. Naito then was in control until Okada was in control until Naito comboed an elbow, a spine buster, and a Rana. Okada hit the John Woo dropkick, which finally was called a John Woo dropkick by Charlton.
Finally.
A dropkick to the outside. Okada works the knee, and he was getting booed for it, which was very interesting to see him getting booed for that. We're working over the knee.
Interesting considering last night how much they booed Kota when he got aggressive on Okada.
Yeah, it's fascinating that how much it's switching. It just shows that they love Okada. I think I was speaking. It might have been to you talking about this.
It's how loved that Naito is. Like, it's no coincidence that he's the top merch seller for New Japan.
Yeah,
like
it's just. I said it's very much like it because they seem to always come out from during big matches. I said he's very much a cult hero that's gained like a mass appeal now. He was the cult hero that's now gained the mass following. Very similar to a Daniel Bryan, I would say, in that way.
Yeah.
So they knee smash on the outside and a shin breaker into the announce table. Naito breaks the 20 count and then gets a huge drop kick for a near fall. Naito German and the swinging DDT get back into it. Then Naito does a poison Rana from the top rope and spikes Okada right on his head.
That was awesome.
That was terrifying.
Yeah, it was awesome and terrifying at the same time. It's a mix of emotions.
It wasn't on this level as some of the moves we saw last year, which was that was amazing. Never do that again. But that was rough. They both exchanged forearms, and Okada hits a spinning Rainmaker, and he countered Destino into a spinning Tombstone and a Rainmaker for a near fall, which was beautiful. And then I don't know if everyone else did this. This is how invested I was. Like even when the commentators did it, when Naito went up for the Stardust press, and I can't remember it went, don't get cute, Naito. And I literally got back. I went, no, Naito, what are you doing? Yeah. Why are you going up for that, you idiot? It never works when you're Ingobernales, not Stardust Genius. But he hit it for a near fall. Then he got him up. Valentia Destino for the win. Cathartic victory, which was nice.
Genuinely felt like years in the making.
Oh yeah,
this match, just everything about it just all fit together so well.
This felt, like I said about Daniel Bryan, this very much felt like their Daniel Bryan winning at WrestleMania 30. Like the build and stuff, even though there's not been actually anyone against Naito, but the fact that he's gone from literally having nothing to ended up winning the whole thing, very similar to Daniel Bryan in that way.
Yeah. And I might be jumping ahead, that they are going to treat it like Daniel Bryan, as in, we had to do this, we give you what you want, now how soon can we get out of this?
I don't know, it depends how much money he's made, because Daniel Bryan wasn't exactly making huge merch around that time. He was doing good, but he wasn't one of the massive merch sellers, whereas Naito is the biggest merch seller. Because I think I sent this to you, didn't I? Think on as a Twitter thing, someone said Gedo booking, which was like, it was Simpsons things, and it was a picture of like Lee Simpson in a princess dress, and then it was like, oh, look at there, my beautiful Princess Okada, and then it's Bart as a rat, and he's like, and don't forget Naito, my dear rat boy. And I'm like, that is how Gedo sees it. It's like, no one can touch my beautiful boy Okada. Naito, stinky.
I think Gedo has. I mean, Naito's been a top merch seller for a long time, and Gedo will just pass him by. And I honestly think this is Gedo saying, I want everyone on Twitter to shut up. Let's give Naito his moment, and I can continue on with Okada and my other project, Jay White, and then that's it.
It's one that I do think that's very accurate. Like, it's just.
I think the title change down the line, maybe at Dominion, maybe later in the year, but it's going to be that the title goes to Ibushi, because they've pushed him back so far now.
Yeah.
He makes that rise again.
Maybe, like, because the thing is, like we said before about the amount of times that they're dicked over Sonata and Evil with the tag belts. where they'd win them and lose them really, really quickly. And I do think that Naito, because he's so pro-chaos, maybe politically does kind of dick around LIJ a little bit. Like, other than Hiromu. Like, he seems to love Hiromu, but he does really dick around the rest of them, which is a real shame, but we'll see anyway.
I think even the fact that he has both belts, I just think there's something in that where it really is Gato just saying, look, I've done something, so leave me alone.
Yeah, I've given him literally everything. Stop asking.
You can never say I'm against him again, because I can always say I give him 2 belts at once.
So he cut a promo talking about winning the belts at the Tokyo Dome and hopes him and Okada would do it again sometime. And then the coolest part, Okada looking up like it's a film, looking up and doing the LIJ fist.
That moment would win an Oscar.
It was so good. It was up there with the Chuck Norris thumbs up in Dodgeball. I loved. And then he's set to close with the LIJ farewell. And did anyone else get legitimately angry when Kenta attacked Naito?
No.
Oh, I legitimately went, oh, fuck off. I got really annoyed.
I did.
I was like,
but I loved it at the same time.
I went, this is great. At the same time, I'm like, this was Naito's moment and you ruined it, Hideo Itami. I didn't call him Kenta for this. You are Hideo Itami.
You go back to NXT.
You go back to 205 Live. That's too harsh. But yeah, he attacks him. Kenta hits GTS, and then how to make a new heel in 30 seconds. Like, he was a bad, he was getting cheered, to be fair, as the new de facto leader of the Bullet Club, but this just turned him into the biggest heel in the company in 30 seconds. It was so well done.
That sit-in pose on anybody now is going to be his hallmark, and there's so many amazing photos.
The only thing is, all I'm going to do now is every time he does it, all I'm going to be waiting for is
it's not going to happen.
I know. I'm getting my own hopes up that
we may get one-off segments, but it's never going to be a match.
Yeah,
it's never going to happen.
I'm just waiting for him to come out and just boot him again, then accidentally Curtis Chapman dab like he did last time. Right, we'll quickly wrap things up. We'll quickly talk about New Year's Dash, the mystery card. But first of all, Liger's retirement ceremony. We all cried again.
Yeah.
I tried to watch this at work. I had to stop because I was getting teary when everyone was coming out and bidding him farewell and giving him the flowers. And then the line from Chris Charlton where he's like, Liger said that he didn't know whether to wear the bodysuit anymore because he's not a wrestler anymore. And I was like, no,
that shows how he feels about wrestling. I think that's why people love him.
And they made the very good point, didn't they, where they was like, look at where Liger wrestled. He wrestled in the opening match, both shows, and then his retirement ceremony is the opening match. It should be the main event, but Liger does not want the spotlight taken off the people that are actually wrestling. But let's talk about the biggest moment of this, which was Okada cheekily grabbing a selfie.
I shouldn't have laughed so much at it, but it was such an Okada move.
Yeah, it's brilliant. He just goes, get the official photos done, they're all done. I did keep laughing at when they had to wait for ages and you had loads of them doing their poses, like a la Nagata standing there for 30 minutes doing his hand pose. Was there for ages just holding his hand pose, looking really awkward. Then the car just going, oh, my phone's here, quick selfie. And they all got round, and God bless Liger immediately going into this kawaii peace pose. What a hero.
It is super cute.
It's so. And then it gets when you have his family come out and he's got his wife and his son there, and they bid farewell to him with the flowers. What then got me is then you just hear Gino going, Chris is gone.
Yeah, because Chris is like he had to tell it's like he's ratting him out. Be like, yeah, Chris is crying.
Because Gino broke early on. It was just, and then I think we said this off pod, but I'm going to say it now. It's 2 words that summed up where everyone cried, which was Tanahashi crying. When they cut Tanahashi in tears, I was just, oh god, it hit me right in the feels.
When Dad cries, we all cry.
Yeah, when Dad cries, we all cry.
When Dad cries about Granddad, we all cry.
Yeah, that's going to be the new caption of this podcast. When Dad cries, we all cry. And then what I loved about it is, again, Gino dicking around with with Chris when he goes, everyone's seen the Liger song, and Gina's going, go on, you know the words, Chris.
Join in when you know the words. Nobody knows the words.
And Chris is just going, like awkwardly, Liger. We've written if Kevin Kelly just bust in knowing it pitch perfect word for word in Japanese. We got the main event as well, which was Sanada and Naito over White and Kenta. So Sanada getting a win over Jay White, with the European clutch again as well. And then Kenta and White beat down Sanada and Naito. Jay White has gone over to wrestle Sanada, and Kenta's going after Naito. So do you reckon this means that Kenta's now the leader of Bullet Club?
No.
No.
Oh, I think this meant that Kenta's taken over as leader, but please tell me why I am wrong, Steph.
I think that this is going to lead to a Jay Kenta feud where one of them leaves Bullet Club, which I think will be Kenta.
Is it going to be a point where Kenta is Kenta going to turn face, or is he going to become so evil he's too evil for Bullet Club?
I feel like he almost might turn face. I'm trying to think of what Gato's long-term booking will be, and I can't see him taking Jay out of Bullet Club, so I think something's going to happen because just how he was like going to the commentators, Jay White, saying, oh, like this is always been the plan and stuff. It was odd, like as if he's almost saying, I'm going to stand back, watch this happen, and then make my move on Kenta to show him that he shouldn't have done that.
Which would make sense with the Jay White character of him like always speaking the truth and stuff. So it'd be
He's always someone that you're meant to think is plotting things, and why wouldn't he be plotting against someone in his own faction?
Yeah, because Jay White.
Because he did it to Chaos.
Yeah.
I kind of feel that maybe when it comes round to them having the match, that they start getting some of the cracks, and Jay sort of says, like, no, you're going after the Intercontinental title, not the IWGP.
Oh, that would be good.
Just to sort of just create the cracks there. All I can say is if there is like any dissension in Bullet Club, I hope we don't get a Bullet Club's fine situation again. As funny as it is to say.
Yeah. But I don't want any more. Bullet Club is fine. But bonus, Sanada main event push, it looks like. Like they're actually pushing him in the main event somewhat, which is nice.
They probably contracted him for the next couple of years. Finally,
because they're scared the WWE is going to nick him. Mike, please fill in the gaps. Any other bits we missed from this show?
I think the big things to come out of this is it looks like we've got the first contenders for Show and Yo, which would be Desperado and Kanemaru after they got pinned in a 4-way tag match.
What a shock. It's gone straight back to Suzuki Gun again.
Well, it was from an errant missed shot from Bushi, and then they hit Show in the face, and then Desperado pinned him. So they've kind of done that, and they did the same thing 2 years ago. So it kind of makes sense to go in this direction.
Yeah.
Not forgetting that the Suzuki Gun team are like they're the second longest holders of the title.
Yeah,
they're
they
just
are
short of a year as well. So that's quite big. Going forward, it looks like Kota Ibushi and Tanahashi are going to be the first challengers for Finju for the tag titles.
Weren't they on separate teams, or were they on the same team?
But there was a moment sort of post match where Kota and Tanahashi were on one side, Finjuice were on the other side, and as much as they shook hands and sort of celebrated, they didn't know what way round to sort of stand to pose, and then they sort of like gestured towards the belts. So that could be a real marquee match on the new US tour.
Is this going to be like the New Japan version of Tanahashi's film? My Dad is a Heel Wrestler.
I can only hope so, because I will be very invested.
I've still not watched it. It's sat on my laptop. I've still not watched it yet.
It's fantastic.
Yeah,
fantastic watch. Shingo beat Goto in tag match. It was Ishii and Goto versus Evil and Shingo Takagi. This was what you'd expect, like 4 big lads beating the absolute shit out of each other, but Shingo made the point that they're 1-on-1 after so sort of from the G1 on their second year. That could be a real coming out party for Shingo if he takes the title off.
Well, you say if. I wonder if Steph did the same thing. Do you reckon? He's going to just lose to Shingo on his first defense.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw this match, and I'm really high on Shingo, actually. I want it after the G1. I really think he should have had a solo match in Wrestle Kingdom, and if he's going to take the title off Goto, then good for him. Basically.
You really don't like Goto. I understand why. It's just funny, like, just get the belt off him as soon as possible, please.
But someone like Shingo, it's much better to have any sort of belt on him anyway, because he's a young, up-and-coming guy that's actually really good and doesn't put you to sleep.
Oh, did you... By the way, this tweet absolutely killed me. When McIver did day one, and someone tweeted us going, "Oh, I'm sick of Okada winning. Why can't they let the younger superstars get over, like Ibushi?" And then McIver just goes, "Ibushi is 5 years older than Okada."
I did see that. Wow.
Which just generally popped me huge. You know what I'm waiting for? I'm waiting for you to tell me the best line of the whole...
It's coming next. So we had Chaos versus Suzuki Gun 8-man tag, and the line of the match was Zack Sabre Jr. walks past the comms desk, and Kevin Kelly loves to get the microphone out and sort of just like anybody that passes, he'll put it out, and you normally get a couple of like just really good sort of comments. So Lance Archer was reminding Rocky Romero that they're going to have they're finally going to have their cage match. I don't know who's going to book it, but somebody, it sounds like, will. But Zach has called, the exact quote was, Will Ospreay is a Tory if I've ever seen one. And it's the best burn I think I've heard this year. And last year.
It's so unnecessary.
But Zach just wants to educate the world on British politics, like his Boris promo at the G1.
Boris!
Tory, like, imagine all these Japanese people looking up Boris Johnson, Tories, and like knowing that that's something bad. It's great.
What I get is I forgot to mention this when we talk about Wrestle Kingdom. One of my highlights was the video package about Zach, which was just videos of him throwing a tantrum.
I feel like that video could get used in a court case for like when he does genuinely just go mental.
Just him
when he kills Boris Johnson, they're just going to play that in court they are and go, well, all right, yeah, he is criminally insane, so we'll just lock him up.
And also, I think this was a Brass Eye reference when this was from Charlton as well, when he was doing his things and he was like, "Oh, Clarky Cack is a gateway to cake," and I'm like, that's a Brass Eye joke, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What else?
It also looks like they're setting up Okada and Taichi, which is very interesting. It's a very strange move to move Okada out of the title scene into something with Taichi, especially when I don't expect Taichi to win that. But
it's so weird. It's so weird to see Taichi now when like literally from about 10-15 years ago that I was watching and commentating on him in his excursion in CMLL.
Yeah.
So weird. So very, very, very strange.
Just mental. That was good. Well, then as Taichi stood, Okada's down and he's about to just pose, and then Moxley's music hits out of nowhere. So I'm like, shit. Because I thought he'd have flown back after day 2. But no, comes down. Suzuki's on the outside of the ring. Moxley pushes Taichi out of the ring. Suzuki gets in the ring. Brief little scuffle. Moxley gives Suzuki the Death Rider, and like he then just walks out. But the camera cuts back to Suzuki laying on his back in the ring and just laughing. It's good. It's such a good visual.
It's going to be...
Yeah, that was the highlight of Dash.
It's going to be so good. They're going to... I think someone tweeted going, "I'm so excited for this match." And I was like, I'm not sure whether this match is going to destroy the Earth or cause world peace. It's
both.
It's or both at the same time. But yeah, that was Wrestle Kingdom weekend. We managed to fit it into just over hour
17 hours.
Yeah, just over 6 to 8 months. It was fun. Hopefully now we've got more people to talk about New Japan, i.e. Steph. We've got a person more to talk about New Japan. We're going to hopefully do some more TWM talks on New Japan related shows. And yeah, hopefully the start, because I really want to get back into New Japan. I really kind of slacked off a little bit last year. Of course, they've changed the schedule as well, so G1's no longer in the summer. It's going to be in October because of the
September to October.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that, G1 in October?
It makes sense because they were going to get no one turning up because of the Olympics, to be fair.
It makes sense, but it's going to be weird because I just, like, all my G1 watching has been done on, like, summer mornings and stuff. It's been nice weather, and then I can just, like, go out afterwards. But now it's, like, October. It's going to...
You just don't want to go out after watching it.
The bonus is...
I'll feel less guilty.
The bonus is I'll probably get some G1 wrestling on my actual birthday, which is nice.
You will.
Yay, G1 on my birthday. I'm not leaving my house. But yeah...
It's interesting what they do with like the tag leagues as well. Are they going to move them? Talk of moving World Tag League to the summer.
Which would mean less people would watch it than they normally do. So...
there's also, I did see something about there's a potential of a big show in America in August to cover up the gap in the calendar.
That would make sense. They've not mentioned any UK stuff yet either.
No, nothing at all. I think it'll probably be the summer to fill the calendar.
It would make so much sense for them to come to the UK or America when other stuff's happening in Japan. Like, they could really try and put on a properly good show for the non-Japanese audience.
They could do. I wouldn't be shocked if they did like a New Japan international tour during the Olympics.
Yeah,
that would be great.
Because they do it before Okada does the torch.
Runs with the torch.
He's doing the torch, isn't he? Yeah. So there we go. That's all things New Japan. Fun, happy times. If you want to get in touch with us at TWM Wrestle and all the social media places. And twm.news, you can read McIver's reviews of day 1 and day 2. Also, we're going to have a 5 things we learned, the dramatic return of. We got Bradley Cassidy on that one, giving us 5 things we learned from the past 3 days in New Japan. If that's not enough New Japan action for you. And check everything else. You can check out me and Mike on the Indie Wrestling Show on Wednesday as we talk about all the wrestles that isn't New Japan related, as Mike becomes a robot for a few seconds. It's because his phone is near his microphone. I know what it is.
It is. I actually have to get something important up.
Is it pictures of me? Are you looking at pictures?
No, actually. Also, after the show, after night 2 of Wrestle Kingdom, Gina Gambino and Robbie Eagle. Sorry,
I'd be shocked.
They were approached by Chris Jericho, and he was asking them about the forest fires and everything going on in Australia at the moment. Jericho's actually donated the T-shirt that he wore to the ring and sort of like Hulk Hogan'd off. So he's donated it to them, and those guys are selling it on eBay at the moment. So if you're anyway inclined and have the money to spend on it, it's going to an amazing cause. And like Robbie Eagles, his family were affected by these fires as well. So if you got some spare cash, then like really donate to it, because it's not just people that are affected, it's wildlife. Like climate change is real.
Yeah, definitely. Steph, social media.
I am Stephanie M. Chase on Twitter and on Instagram.
Michael?
Just go to Robbie Eagles _.
Yeah. I'm a Matty ID. We're at TWM Wrestle. Thank you very, very much for listening. We know this has been an absolute mammoth pod discussing Wrestle Kingdom, but there was a lot of stuff, so
it took us longer to watch.
This is true. We're now all off to go catch up on sleep. That is the plan. Me and Mike will be back for the Indie Wrestling Show on Wednesday. Steph, hopefully we're back in the near future on some pods in some form or fashion. Thank you very much for listening, and we hope that you hear from us again soon.